Hey YouTube, it's Hex again. I'm coming at you with another quick video. We were talking this week on Witchiversity about protective magics. Um, and I feel like protection and healing are kind of one and the same, so that's why I'm using this as my example for really cool protective magics. This is actually a Poppet, or doll baby, or voodoo doll, or whatever it is that you want to call it. They go by many names. They're essentially the same thing. You can make them in many different materials. This one is for my mother. My mom was sick out of nowhere for a while, and she was in the hospital for about a week. And to this day, they still can't figure out what was wrong. She just had severe stomach pain. We had to call the ambulance. They thought it was some kind of infection. On her CAT scans and her MRIs and stuff, they could see where there was something, but they could never determine what it was. And it has long since faded, and now she just struggles with um, like irritable bowel syndrome. So we've kind of shifted it, and I'm going to explain that in a second as to why I think that this was a good idea. Typically, when I have a spell like this, I'm very careful with using doll babies because it's sympathetic magic. So you're using this as a link to the other person, but when you do this and you're sealing it, you're binding that spell. In binding yourself, you create a soul bond to the other person. So I only do these in times where I know that it's for the right purpose and that I know it's not going to cause any adverse reactions. So for this, I took a coin that says healing on it, and I stuffed it in there with some herbs and some other, some curios. And this is actually one of her old white t-shirts. I did this while she was in the hospital, like the first 24 hours she was there. Um, my sister's not a witch. She doesn't practice. She's totally Christian, believes in God. But I had her help me with this, so I think that's why it was a little more powerful. Took one of my mom's old white t-shirts. We cut it, made the doll out of it, stuffed it with some belongings of hers. I believe it was a necklace that we put in here as well, to link it to my mother. And then we performed a healing ritual. So I dressed it with healing and protective herbs and oils, and blessed it with incense smoke and sealed this spell. And within 24 hours, the pain my mother was having was gone, and all they could see in her stomach was um, where her body had essentially taken what they thought might have been some kind of infection or abscess of some kind, just outside of her bowels, and encapsulated itself in its own skin. And then they were giving her antibiotics that weren't working, and it slowly just faded away, and they released her from the hospital. And to this day, they still have no idea what's wrong. They've done colonoscopies, they've done everything. The reason I think it's such a good idea for something like that is because for all we know, it could have been a tumor, it could have been a severe infection that could have spread throughout her entire body. We don't know what it was. So by doing the Poppet, I felt like I gave the energy and shifted it to a different purpose. Um, and I feel like by keeping this Poppet here, every so often I'll just re-bless it with smoke from some incense, or maybe feed it with a little bit of oil, or whatever it is that I feel like I need to do at the time. And it keeps her healthy. It keeps her condition from progressing so bad. As of right now, it's relatively managed and somewhat under control. Um, so until she can get to the right specialists and find out exactly what it is that's going on, this is kind of my way of helping her with that. Um, Poppets can be made out of clay. I have a big box of what's called wet clay. It's just like your basic like clay that you would use in sculpting and stuff that will dry hard as a rock. So I've made poppets out of those, and you can press herbs and oils into the actual clay and let it dry like that. And that can become like a totem poppet if you wanted, or a totem doll baby that you can use for many different purposes. This is my favorite way to do them, is with cloth, because you can draw on it, you can paint them, you can do all kinds of different things really easily with the cloth. Now, I've seen that they've been made out of candle wax that's hollow, and you can stuff stuff into that as well. I've also seen where it's been made out of mud. I mean, there's just the list is endless in the ways that you can do things. Let's say you wanted to harm somebody. Not that you necessarily should just go out and harm someone. Obviously, there's there's a lot of ethical questioning there. Um, but I feel like if it's part of your practice and you feel like you are needing to do so, then by all means do it. Just be prepared for your consequences. You can actually take leftover candle wax like this here. It's from the negative working I talked about in one of my other videos. And you can kind of make it hot or warm it up in your hands and remold it and actually make a doll baby out of that and use it for negative working. So I think it, it goes to show, um, don't feel like spellcraft has to be so ritualistic. I'm so against, I love ritual because for me it's a tool of focus and, the ceremony and, all of the bells and whistles that come along with it can really help you focus and channel your energy and get the best results. But don't feel like it has to be this big production or you have to have all these expensive ingredients. You don't have to. It's all about your intention and using what you have, um, and just really taking it there. I just find that some of my better spells were more simple. Like this one here. We didn't have a lot to work with. We didn't know what the result was going to be, and it was exactly what it was supposed to be. Um, so with your own risks, you can use this for negative magic, but more so, poppets are one of my favorite things for protective magic. You can literally make dolls of family members, friends. One of my favorite things to do is actually to take poppets, make them of your family members' friends. If you can get hair, fingernail clippings, blood, semen, urine, anything of theirs, you know, that you can get your hands on, a personal object. It's better if it's a bodily fluid or a piece of their body, if at all possible. But an object of theirs that they use often or that they have touched recently will work just as fine. And make poppets of them. And then I actually take a box, kind of like, let's see, let me grab my diffuser box, guys. So I'll take a box, something kind of like this, and you can actually glue mirrors to the outside of the box. This ties into my last video talking about mirrors in magic. Um, and you can glue the outside full of mirrors and then set your poppets and some other items and herbs and curios in the box, um, and close and seal the box and just feed that spell. And that's a protective ward you can set on your family to make sure that they're protected from any negative influence. And if anyone's trying to harm them, that it's reflected back to that person. Um, that's a really, really effective spell, and it's actually really simple. You just have to have, a couple different supplies. So, yeah, if you guys have used doll babies, poppets, in protective magic, or dark workings even, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. I always like to see what you guys can come up with. There's been some really good ideas floating around in Witchiversity. So with that being said, I will let you guys go and stop my incessant frickin' rambling. um, and I will talk to you guys soon. I would say probably my next video is gonna be, um, maybe on another working I'm gonna be doing. I also want to talk about generational curses, so that'll be coming up, and then I'm also gonna do videos with myself and one of my best friends. So I'll introduce YouTube to him. His name's Chris. He is another very powerful witch in my area. We've known each other for years since we were in school. Um, and we do a lot of workings together as well. So we're going to utilize some of the chicken's feet that I recently spoke about that I dried out, and we're going to do some stuff for him with the chicken's feet. So I'll go ahead and I'll record some of that, and we'll do kind of like a vlog style thing with him, maybe a Q&A with him. We'll see. But there's going to be some more content coming, so stay tuned. If you guys have any other ideas or want to chat with me, definitely leave some comments below. Hit me up on Facebook, or talk to me in Witchiversity. Many blessings to you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.